American Space Museum studios in downtown Titusville, Florida. I am not in the Smithsonian giving a speech in front of this magnificent machine that set aviation history on this date in 1947, way back in the last century. But Marty remembers it, don't you? Marty Winkle, my co-producer, he certainly remembers back last century in the 40s, don't you, Marty?
Well, barely in the 40s, but definitely 50s.
Okay. We've got Seth in here with us, a student at local high schools learning our Streamlab ropes here. Thank you for being here, young man. And he's really seeing me under the gun at the last minute. This has been a beautiful day in Florida, weather-wise, as well as here at the museum, where it's just been a parade of people wanting to talk to shop with me here, and we are so grateful for that, and we're grateful for all of you out there. So I'm going to go hear Winston Scott, astronaut, play on his trumpet a little bit at the Italian American Club this evening. So I like kind of doing a quick and snappy show today, like we always should do, like you're used to. But let me bring up my smart tablet so we can say hello to everybody watching today. We're going to talk a mixed bag of things today. Some space history. We've got an astronaut birthday, and we've got uh, our final Hispanic astronaut of the month, and then we're going to look at a couple of the auction items to end the show today for our important 40th auction of space memorabilia that you can own, and that's going to be October 25th, Saturday, when the final gavel by Chuck Jeffrey will pound out those winners there. So you can bid now and go to our website and check all that out there. But wanted to thank Nick Thomas for an excellent show yesterday, Marty. 90 minutes went by like a snap, as it was almost all Wally Schirra wall to wall, but you did at the beginning get some great insight to Artemis 2 and some training slides that Nick Thomas brought with us. So go back and look at our awesome library of Stay Curious episodes, more than 1,000 of them now posted on YouTube channel, and Google your interest or a guest name, and you'll be thoroughly entertained, we hope. And we're doing this because financially it helps the museum also. But more importantly, we've created a community, a fellowship here of space-loving men and women across the world that we enjoy seeing you all every day, including Dave Stange, he's up there in Macomb, Michigan. He and Larry Pusker and their wives had a beautiful weekend on the Lake of Michigan up there, I guess, or Lake Erie. Steve Jokums is watching. Good. Dean Babcock, Carlton Bailey, and we'll have more of you chiming in as we go through this Stay Curious episode today. So, auction 40, let's see. Okay, let me go this way, Marty. There we go. Yesterday was episode 1390. There's our auction promo. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But this is our 1391st episode since March 23rd, 2020, born out of the pandemic. And we thank you, thank you, thank you. I know a lot of people out there do a weekly, podcast or so, and that'd be 50 or so a year, 52 weeks in the year. So 5 years, you may have done 250 episodes, but not us. We've gone every Monday through Friday for the better part of 5 years. Probably I've missed maybe 20 of those episodes. Marty, maybe 20, but he's come in remote on a bunch of them. So thank you all. It's important outreach, and the number can be staggering, but every day is a new day, and we enjoy bringing you a show like this. Yeah, Marty.
Dave Stang is asking about the Artemis launch next spring. Did we mention the date? And we did. We mentioned February, at the earliest, February 5th next year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, take the thunder out of my pitch here by asking a question that we don't know the answer to. Okay. In yesterday's show, Nick Thomas said that, everyone knows the launch window for the moon to be in the right position and the Earth is February 5th. But they're really, that's the first window opportunity, February 5th. And believe you me, they will announce it well ahead of time so that everybody can fill up the hotels here. And if it's in April, wow, that'd be crazy with spring break going on. But the window opens February 5th. That's all we know. And no date has been chosen for the Artemis 2 mission. Okay, let's get to some of the important stuff and my momentum here of skeleton crew working always here at the American Space Museum for your here on Stay Curious as well as in our beautiful museums here as our skeleton crew at the fueling station for the shuttle. And we all know that fall is here. Maybe you're getting some beautiful rainbows through those sun catchers at your house as the sun has gone from nearly directly overhead all summer and is flopping to the west and coming into your southern windows like never before. So hope that you're enjoying a beautiful time. I love the crystal sun catchers. But I don't have many southern facing windows in the living room and things like that where I live now. But hope you do and you can enjoy what's coming on. The 40th American Space Museum uh, auction is a big deal. This is cash flow money for us. You bid and win an auction bid of $100. You will pay $120 plus shipping as we add a 20% museum charity fee to that. That's how we get a nice check every auction from Bid Again Auctions and Chuck Jeffrey, who does that. And those of you local, November 5th is the reset of the date for Bob Seek to tell you a little bit about his career at NASA that started with Gemini as a meteorologist and ended as the launch director of 51 shuttles. And after he was launch director and handed off to Mike Leinbach and a couple others, he then was a behind the scenes manager. Very cool guy. One of the mantras that he has that he shares in public, Marty, is we've got all this technology out there, Marty and Seth, but don't forget to Google your brain. That's what Bob Seek says all the time. So $40 a person, mini fundraiser for the museum, a delicious lasagna dinner in Melbourne on November 5th. Well, sponsor of the month, sponsor of the day is located where the red pin is there. Yes, that's you, Mr. Steve Jokums, in his Lake County spaceport. You didn't know there was a spaceport on the shores of Lake Michigan up there, but there it is. And in Fox Lake, Illinois, is where Steve has a side business that creates and sells to you modeling supplies. Here is his, I believe that's his Facebook, that's his website with some of his he's a great modeler in his own right, Steve Jokums, and a tremendous sponsor of the American Space Museum. And we want to feature these sponsors at the beginning of most shows. There's how you do the International Space Station solar panels. You buy a decal from Steve, and there you go. You put them on your plastic model there, and also you can't paint all of that thermal protection system on the belly of the orbiters of our great shuttle era. So Steve has got decals for that to make it look right, and then you can put any patina that you want on these there. So Steve does a great job of doing that, and he also shares a portion of his business profits with the American Space Museum and has the last couple years. Steve, we're so grateful for you. There he is in the commander's seat of an orbiter. I don't know which orbiter that is, Steve, but you can mention that to everybody that's jealous of you sitting there with your hands on the joystick there. So appropriately garbed there. I always love the ASTP end of the program patch there, Marty. Did you particularly like that? Being part of the shuttle era?
Oh yeah, definitely did.
Marty, you've met Steve many times, and we say a nice word about him, if you can find one.
And where do you start? I mean, Steve is just using my terminology, a hell of a nice guy, very generous. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe him. I really
Yeah.
consider him a friend.
And he's just one of many that we're blessed with. That's why we feature you on our Stay Curious episode. He is a financial sponsor. He's already has some things together for Shuttlefest. He paid for over 300 patches of Shuttlefest, our shield logo, and et cetera, et cetera. So these are the people that want our museum to succeed. And I'm talking about the Mitch Rothmans, the Chris Callies, the Carlton Baileys, the Tom and Mark Usiaks out there, and on and on and on. But those are some of our stellar supporters. Dave Stange and his wife Julie. Don't want to leave anybody out, but thank you for all you do, Steve. And I've never done that. Sat in the main seat of a shuttle there. All right, let me get a clear my throat here. National Hispanic Month. Excuse me, ends tomorrow. And see, that's how I do it, Seth. Just be natural, okay? So here's some of your favorite Hispanic astronauts. Ellen Ochoa there in the middle, Jose Hernandez to the left. That's Zamka to the right. Lopez Allegra in the corner. Akia is in the upper right. The upper left is, forget who that is. And Oliva is right there in our left. Upper left-hand corner, that's not the one we're going to talk about today, who's the last. But 14 Hispanic astronauts have flown, and we get a tribute to them all month, as tomorrow's the end of the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. And we'll talk about the final and the last Hispanic to go to space over 3 years ago. He's quite famous. He set the record of endurance. Everybody says Kelly set the endurance record. No, he didn't. He's at 11 months. There's two other astronauts that stayed up there longer, not exactly by a plan either. Did you watch it? Let's switch to some current events. Wow. I didn't watch it wall to wall, but Marty, what another successful mission for SpaceX and their big booster, and the Starship number 11 did everything they planned to do. We just watched it dump into the ocean a few before the show, around our docent desk on a replay. Chris Marie was there from Ohio. Chris is now traveling around all the rocket sites from Texas to Virginia to Kennedy Space Center. And what a beautiful shot Chris took of the climb up there. And I love up the engine, up the bottom of the engine there. Those engines, all of them lit, 33 of them. That's something that I found quite amazing of what I watched. Was then the booster came back. This booster had flown before and was caught, all right, in the chopsticks. They haven't done that the last couple missions because they've been testing engineering things to find the limits of the booster, and as well as the Starship. But when it came down and just hovered, oh my gosh, that big booster was just hovering above the ocean, Gulf of Mexico there for a little bit, and dumped it back in there. So, and then the Starship went, I guess, 3/4 away around the world. And did its thing and landed in the daylight of the Indian Ocean there, within sight of a buoy that had a camera on it. Just so amazing how accurate these behemoths of rockets are. So thank you, Chris Marie, for sharing that with us today. In another bit of history we teased you about, that's my backdrop, is Chuck Yeager, American hero, and that is his glamorous Glennis. All right, it was the name of his wife, okay? And I'm going to just show this picture real quick of the Bell X-1 in flight, a very historic mission. Read a book about it, Marty, I think you read the book about him too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So what was the what there was something Chuck Yeager sitting there and he did this with an injury. You remember what the injury was? That he flew this flight and didn't want anybody to know.
No, was it? Did he break his wrist?
Yes, he had broken ribs. Wow, anybody had broken ribs? This man broke the sound barrier with broken ribs. The first human to fly faster than sound, Chuck Yeager, had happened today in 1947. He passed away at age 97 in 2020. Okay. I don't think I have another picture. Oh, yeah, this picture here is our backdrop. I'm hiding him there. Dedicating this Bell X1. He was 40 years old. He flew the experimental Bell X1, breaking the sound barrier, which is over 600. The speed of sound is 760 miles per hour at sea level. So he went over 760 miles an hour. And that was the first recorded sonic boom ever in history. And I was told the other day that Theodore Carmen predicted a sonic boom if someone broke the sound barrier, Marty. And we talked about the Kármán line that Theodore Carmen set as outer space at 100 kilometers or 52 miles. The Bell X-1 is a rocket engine powered aircraft. This was a joint National Advisory Committee of Aeronautics, Army, Air Force, and built by the Bell Aircraft Company. Yeager became quite famous over this. He grew up in West Virginia, never attended college. Is considered to be one of the greatest pilots of all time. Often modest about his background, he's in everything aviation thing you could think of. Buildings, bridges, airports are named after Chuck Yeager. And President Ronald Reagan bestowed on him the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1985. Did not want to be an astronaut. Okay, he probably could have segued into it, but he did not want to be an astronaut. He wanted to fly and maneuver and that sort of stuff. So, very decorated man. This was over Rogers Dry Lake in Mojave Desert. The mission was not announced to the public until June of 1948. All right, they kept this from the world for over 6 months. I forget the reason, but this bullet-shaped orange bell. I know Steve Jokums probably has one in his collection of aviation models. Most of you do. The glamorous Glennis Mach 1.05 at an altitude of 45,000 feet on this date in space history. And Chuck Yeager had broken ribs doing it. He had it's amazing. But that's the little seat that he was in. What a view he had of it too, Marty. So God bless him. What a moment in history that we'll never forget. All right, to talk like an amateur astronomer, this is day 21, Marty, for the moon. So that means to talk like an amateur astronomer, day 21. That means, the moon is in the after midnight sky. In fact, it's rising about midnight at last quarter there. So this means a great time to get out and do some stargazing. All the bright stars and faint stars are visible from your backyard, including the Milky Way. Milky Way is the best in October because traditionally skies are clear in our country. Around America then, but just go out, let your eyes get dark adapted, get away from the street lights if you can, and get in a little area that you can be in the shade, night shade from the light pollution of your neighborhood. You'll see the little band of light overhead the Milky Way, and check it out, and go get you a star map at Barnes & Noble or download this skymaps.com and give you a great lesson on stargazing in the month of October. Yeah, Marty.
Yeah, Dean Babcock is asking, did glamorous Glennis fly more than one time?
That's a good one. Yeah, it did fly more than one time. Oh, absolutely. No, they flew it several. It probably flew 20. Marty's going to Google that there for you. Uh, no, this was one of a series of building up to this. He flew 4 or 5 almost at Mach 1, and then they did it at that. But a good question there, Dean. I don't know if they flew it after it set don't know about that at all. Yeah, Mark Fell is probably why he didn't want to be an astronaut because he never went to college, but he didn't have to. And and Mark Fell says a little bit of history is another pilot wanted to do it, but he wanted a big bonus, and Yeager did it for captain's pay. So, yep, one of the old bold pilots there, Steve Jokums. Yes, Marty.
On that comment, it wasn't that he didn't want to be an astronaut. He wasn't he was not allowed to, how do I word that? He wanted to be an astronaut, but since he didn't go to college, they ruled him out.
Okay.
Glamorous Glennis flew 78 times.
There's 70. Did it fly after
That's
this
what we're
one?
checking on now. Did it? Yes, it did.
Okay, great. Thank you for my fact checking there, everybody. Good questions. We got the smartest people watching a podcast ever. Well, we got a good happy birthday here. Happy birthday to this lady, Kate Rubens. She is 47 years old today, born October 14th, 1978 in Farmington, Connecticut, but she was raised in Napa, California. So many astronauts born in one location, but then raised in another. She's an Artemis astronaut. She spent her 38th and 42nd birthdays in space, accumulating 300 days on expeditions 48, 49, and 63 and 64 on the International Space Station. And at 300, she has a year ago she had the fourth most days in space by a female, and she could be the first woman on the moon. She was the 60th woman in space when she was launched on a Soyuz rocket in July 2016. Okay, and she was in space on her 40th birthday. Later in that, before coming back, or 38th birthday. She's done 4 spacewalks, and then she went back to space on her 42nd birthday, like we said, in 2020. So she hadn't been to space in 5 years, and I don't know where she's lined up in the queue of the Artemis astronauts. But 4 spacewalks, and she's Facebook and Instagram. If you want to wish her a happy birthday, there she is with some food grown in space by Gary Studi, our expert, who's a local botanist here, space botanist, and we're going to have Gary on soon. There she is with her Soyuz spacesuit on there. All right, happy birthday to Kate Rubens. National Hispanic Month, we've got the last and special astronaut to talk about, Francis Rubio. Francis Carlos Rubio was born December 11th, 1975, in Los Angeles, California, but his parents moved to to El Salvador the first 6 years of his life. Okay, and he attended the U.S. Military Academy. Okay, West Point. But then the family moved to Miami. After a 6-year-old, they went back to Miami. So, born in Los Angeles, influenced by El Salvador, went to high school in Miami. And in the Army, a UH-60 Black Hawk pilot, platoon leader. All right, 600 combat hours in Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And then he said, that's not interesting enough. I'm going to go to get a doctorate of medicine. All right. And he was a surgeon on the 3rd Battalion at Fort Carson there. So Then he went to space, and he was, as we're seeing him here, launched aboard Soyuz MS-22. Here's his, there's Frank there, Artemis astronaut. A wife and 4 children, by the way. His mission was planned in September 22 to last 6 months. However, damage to the spacecraft, Soyuz spacecraft, had a leak develop out of it that was not good. You could see the leak spewing out after it was docked, of course. Rubio was on an extended mission that lasted 371 days. He spent, supposed to be up there 6 months. He ended up spending up there over a year. All right. Now look at that book he's reading. He broke Mark Van der Heij's previous record for the longest space flight by an American. That was, I think, just about 360 days. So Scott Kelly is not, the longest, despite being broadcasted, he was there 11 months, and his book Endurance and all that stuff. He's third of American astronauts in continuous staying in space there. So, and imagine the, ups and downs, and you're supposed to be there 6 months, and you're missing, Dad's birthday and Christmas and all that stuff that you're planning to be here. So anyway, but his spanned over 3 expeditions up there. So he's still an Artemis astronaut, and he's reading a book there that I happen to have right here. He read the book, A Ticket to Space, by Adrienne Romberger. She signed this, Aim High, as one of the books in space read, not this book per se, but this is a little kid's book, okay, and child reader book. And he read this book up in space, and Adrienne told us about that back in the day. Was that a $100 bill dropped out of there? Anyway, so there's Rubio reading the book in space there of our friend Adrienne Romberger. And we have that book here for sale for $15, I think, in our gift shop. So there's our astronaut in space. There's our last Hispanic astronaut. He's the last Hispanic astronaut to go to space also, and came back in 2023 September. So we'll see how that works out there. So love to meet him someday. Well, let's check out some items on our auction here to end Stay Curious today. There's your information. Get your QR code out there. It'll go straight to our website, where you'll see the button to push to take you to register. Bid Again Auctions is the auction house that's so generous to us. Chuck Jeffrey, our former board member, and he's really saved the museum with these auctions. We've talked about that time and time again. So here's a couple lots that are up there. I'm going to go through real quick. Lots 41 through 48. There's a Gemini mission chart on the left. There's a master countdown, vintage master list there of Gemini 12 that was used at a console. Those typically go for a couple $100. A hard hat from the 1960s, that might outbid the master countdown there. We've seen those go quite for much. It's green, and it has a, as you see there, it's got a General Dynamics decal on the side. Astronaut Frank Borman's signed book from the captain to the colonel about his Gemini viewing badges there in the lower left. Those are always popular to collect. Focus on something you want to collect, okay? That's the GT, over my shoulder is the GT8 and 9 there. And then start there. Maybe you want to just buy launch badges, okay? Those go for $50 to $100 each. Or maybe you're into postal covers signed by astronauts, and there is a GT7 signed cover. That's a nice one. I might bid on that myself. Frank Borman and Jim Lovell, and who passed away. They both were buddies, died a year apart. There you got some Mercury and Gemini publications. And then far right's a Minuteman missile contractor model. and we'll be seeing a few more of those here in just a minute. Models are very popular. Coins.
Wait, hey, Mark,
Yeah.
the green hard hat, that indicates it was owned by a safety engineer.
What'd you say?
Green on a hard hat, that means it was owned by a safety engineer or used by safety.
It was used by a space.
Safety.
Oh, okay. Safety.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Murphy's back there's green in there, so he's a safety person too. Okay, good. That's a good point to have there. Yep. And we used to, well, we sold out of the hard hats I had. They would go. So you got everything from coins, signed photos, launch passes that you put in your car. I love the ones that say station wagon on them, Marty. And then you've got different lots there. Encounter with Tiber is a book that Buzz Aldrin helped write with John Barnes there. He signed thousands of those, I'd say, probably. Then you've got some Apollo 11 eyewitness medallion and launch viewing badge. Okay. Now that launch viewing badge goes for $200 or $300 all the time. And you can see the dignitaries and VIPs wearing it. A piece of Kapton foil off Apollo 11. One of the scuba divers got that, or engineers, I think, may have done that after they brought it out of the ocean. Apollo 11 film from the Dick Underwood collection. Now that is the film, the third one from the top. Dick Underwood was the chief of the photography at Johnson Space Center. This is from his collection, taking leaders off of the flown film that was in the lunar module. Okay, and so we're looking at $1,500 to $2,500 for that. Bid starts at that at $500. Fred Hayes signing the Eagle has landed. Beta cloth. More Kapton foil. Video films do well. There's an Apollo 11 press kit. We've seen those go for $400 or $500. A Saturn V flight manual. Lots of cool flight manuals that you can see and buy at this auction. But this page is just beautiful, and great job, Chuck Jeffrey and his partner on this, photographing this against a blue background. Who wouldn't want to own one of these 8 models, okay? Left to right, a Gemini contractor module, at least $500 that's worth. The Lockheed Agena top, the second one from the top. They call these contractor models because that's just what they are. They were handed out by the contractors of these spacecraft to VIPs and dignitaries and so forth. Topping the Lockheed Agena D module there. And then on the far right, a rare 1962 Titan ICBM contractor model. Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. This is tipped with a nuclear warhead. This one on the far top right. Should go for $700 to $1,000. Then the bottom one over my head is an Atlas rocket, General Dynamics. An Atlas Agena contractor model. Those two should go well over $300. Then one of the holy grails of all, for all collectors, is an Apollo lunar module, Grumman, built by Grumman, contractor module. I've not seen any of those go for less than $1,000. Marty, you have one that's beautiful that was given to you, and in fact, you've got a picture of you receiving it as a young man. But they go pretty good, don't they, Marty?
Yeah, I thought the least I thought, Mark, was like around $1,500. I know Charlie Mars went for like, I think, $2,800.
Yes, depending on whose it is, and how about the astronaut for Grumman.
Not astronaut.
He was the trainer astronaut. He was not an
Scott
astronaut.
McCloud.
He was an astronaut trainer for Grumman.
But Scott McCloud.
Scotty McLeod. His went for over $2,000. So these models are cool. There's a Rockwell Command and Service module. Again, a contractor model. These weren't beautiful models built by an excellent modeler like Steve Jokums, but they were built in mass production and preformed and all that stuff, and they're way cool. That one, Marty, Chuck thinks should go for at least $3,000. The command service module there, with the beautiful escape tower on it. So that gives you a hint at what's in store at our 40th auction. Buzz Aldrin's visor shot pictures up there for sale. You can get some Snoopies. That we're going to do a whole show with John Tribe about the Snoopy cartoon that was used to inspire workers on their daily inspirational notes that they got there. So thank you all for watching today. Hope that you learned something and enjoyed it. We've got a lot of good feedback from everybody. Cliff Watson's down there in Pomona, Australia, battling cancer. So, buddy, we're thinking about you down there as he's enjoying a Wednesday morning down in Pomona, Australia. All right. Thank you all for the compliments. Thank you all for interacting with each other. And thank you all for staying curious. So tomorrow's Wednesday, and we might do a short show. I'm supposed to have a board meeting, Marty, but I haven't seen any chatter about that because the first of the month is on Wednesday, and when things are on the third Wednesday of the month, it kind of catches them off guard. But
Mark, wasn't it moved to next week?
officially,
I think Dory, somebody sent an email out a week or two ago, moving it out 1 week.
okay. All right. Sounds good to me. If they don't want me there, I don't need to be there. So that's you're on the board. So, but good. Anyway, we will do it again tomorrow. Is what I'm trying to say. We've got some guests lined up for the next 2 weeks here, who we got? We got Robert or Bob Granath is going to be on the 29th, and we got Bert Dicht on next Tuesday. Terry White will be on, and we had Nick Thomas on yesterday. So we're trying to fill our guest slots here. But as usual, I will be bringing you space history, the occasional astronaut birthday, and what's up in the sky to help you stay curious. So until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you in our museum here in downtown Titusville so we can bridge the space between us. Thank you.